we constantly hit a wall of intense inner resistance. Whenever we try to initiate a critical task, whether we need to draft a comprehensive business proposal, outline a new creative venture, or immerse ourselves in professional study, our brain invents every conceivable excuse to delay execution. Instead of sitting down at our workspace and entering a state of deep focus, we waste our highly limited energy scrolling mindlessly through short-form videos, checking our email inbox on autopilot, or clicking on sensational headlines on media portals. By the time we snap out of this trance, hours have vanished, leaving us with a profound wave of guilt, self-reproach, and acute stress rather than a sense of fulfillment. When this cycle of procrastination becomes a chronic routine, we mistakenly label ourselves as weak-willed or inherently lazy individuals. However, this is absolutely not a flaw in your raw willpower. The true explanation is that your brain has become completely saturated with hyperstimulating rewards, entirely breaking your internal dopamine circuitry. Modern algorithms and digital platforms are meticulously engineered to exploit your neurobiology and hold your subconscious hostage. When exposed to an environment that delivers an instantaneous spike of dopamine with a single flick of a finger, your brain will instinctively refuse to invest energy into high-leverage, long-term tasks that require weeks, months, or years to yield a meaningful output. If you desire to shatter this paralysis and achieve explosive execution, you must stop whipping yourself with temporary discipline and immediately initiate a dopamine detox to completely reset your neural pathways. This chemical mechanism was masterfully analyzed from a neuroscientific and addiction psychology perspective by Anna Lembke in her global classic Dopamine Nation. As a professor of addiction medicine at Stanford University School of Medicine, Lembke scientifically demonstrated why individuals living in an era of unprecedented abundance are increasingly plagued by chronic boredom and paralyzing lethargy. She revealed a startling neurobiological fact. The human brain processes pleasure and pain in the exact same location, operating much like a balance scale, because the brain possesses an evolutionary mandate to maintain strict homeostasis. Whenever the scale tilts heavily toward one side, an internal corrective mechanism immediately forces it down in the opposite direction. This means that when you aggressively press down on the pleasure side of the scale through endless digital stimulation, video games, or highly processed comfort foods, your subconscious mind automatically places a heavy weight of pain on the opposite side to restore equilibrium. The unexplained waves of anxiety, existential emptiness, and profound lethargy that invariably follow a dopamine high are the direct outputs of this neural counterweight. The compounding danger is that repeated exposure to high dopamine triggers causes the brain's scale to tilt toward the pain side much faster and remain there significantly longer. Eventually, an individual with compromised dopamine circuitry finds themselves in a state where even initiating a mildly tedious or energy-demanding task becomes physically impossible because their nervous system is already flooded with pain signals, the subconscious errors that dismantle our execution and bind us to low-leverage distractions, function through three distinct systemic phases. The first phase is the severe distortion of the reward prediction error. The brain holds a precise historical archive of which actions delivered the fastest, most effortless chemical rewards in the past. Whenever you confront a complex project, your subconscious recalls that opening social media delivers a far more efficient hit of satisfaction than reading a dense document, driving your hand toward your smartphone. The exact second you experience a moment of cognitive friction. The second phase is the trap of tolerance. When exposed to a relentless stream of intense stimulation, the brain's dopamine receptors actively downregulate, decreasing in overall volume and sensitivity to protect the nervous system from overload. Consequently, digital content that used to capture your attention for 5 minutes fails to register even after an hour, forcing you to hunt for increasingly extreme stimuli just to experience a baseline level of engagement. The third phase is the complete loss of cross-reward sensitivity, a nervous system conditioned exclusively to hyper-stimulating digital outputs loses the organic capacity to register the quiet, deeply fulfilling dopamine currents that accompany real-world incremental achievements. It operates much like blast damaging your hearing with heavy metal music until you can no longer perceive the subtle sounds of nature. As these three distortions solidify, you decline into an absolute hostage to instant gratification, completely destroying your capacity for productive execution. Dismantling this profound chemical confinement and restoring your innate executive function demands an uncompromising overhaul of your neurochemical environment. Implementing this behavioral shift requires 3 non-negotiable structural upgrades. First, you must execute a strict 4-week dopamine fast. Returning a damaged neural scale to a state of healthy homeostasis requires a minimum of 30 days. You must deliberately and entirely eliminate every single digital trigger that induces a cheap dopamine spike, including short-form video feeds, social media platforms, competitive video games, and aimless web browsing. During the initial week of this fast, you will be forced to endure the acute psychological friction of severe boredom and mental restlessness, as the brain's counterweight of pain exerts its influence. However, once you pass this critical threshold, your downregulation reverses, and your dopamine receptors regain their natural sensitivity. Second, you must practice the strategic integration of deliberate pain. This involves actively reversing the brain's homeostasis mechanism to your advantage, subjecting your system to calculated physical friction, such as taking freezing showers, engaging in intense physical training, or forcing yourself through complex literature presses down on the pain side of the scale first. In response, the brain automatically counters by elevating the pleasure side to restore balance, naturally releasing steady, sustainable currents of internal dopamine that generate intense focus, deep clarity, and profound emotional stability without any external dependencies. This precise neuroscientific principle explains why elite performers intentionally design demanding morning routines. Third, you must engineer a micro-reward architecture. Discard the overwhelming pressure of massive long-term objectives and dissect your daily execution into tiny, highly tangible milestones. The simple physical act of striking through a completed task on a paper list acts as a direct micro-reward that systematically rewires your subconscious pathways for steady, sustained execution. The definitive trajectory of your life is determined entirely by where you choose to invest your daily reservoir of dopamine. Average individuals fall directly into the digital traps, engineered by corporate algorithms, voluntarily surrendering their attention, time, and cognitive potential for a series of cheap chemical spikes. Conversely, elite achievers ruthlessly govern their own neurochemical systems, ensuring their dopamine circuitry activates exclusively during acts of creation, production, and high-leverage execution. The fact that you have struggled with chronic procrastination and low energy is not a reflection of a lazy character. It is the logical consequence of a modern environment, optimized to shatter your neural architecture. Now that you understand this mechanism, refuse to waste another ounce of psychological energy on self-criticism. Cut the cord on the illusion of digital pleasure and construct an internal environment, engineered exclusively for absolute focus and explosive output. When you train your mind to face boredom without retreating into distraction, your subconscious undergoes a total reprogramming, transforming you into an executive force, capable of executing any objective on command. Take absolute ownership of your neurochemical systems and dominate your day. The power has always been and will always be entirely yours.